What's up, everybody? Old School NYC Gamer back once again here, and these are just some of the pickups right over here that I got this past Saturday. Thanks to a local dealer by where I live and a specific person over at Digital Press, which I'll let them know what's going on there. But let me just show you some of the pickups here. Now, this whole little lot right here, these were for the trade video that I did a few days ago. I did have a couple of offers, but to be quite honest, people, it really was nothing that I really wanted. But only the one thing I did have an offer was for the Pilot Wings box. But through the person that I did this trade with, who's a local dealer here, he actually does, sell his games at value, at market value, maybe a few dollars over depending on the title. But, we did make an agreement on some of the stuff that, I wanted. And he definitely wanted the titles I had, so we made the trade. And I'm just gonna show you the 6 games here. So these are like 4 Super Nintendo games and 2 NES games. Now, one of the Super Nintendo games I actually do have. So if anybody wants this copy, drop me a PM. I'll trade you something for it. So let me just show you the first game here. Let me see here, Super Off-Road, the Baja for Super Nintendo. Next off here is a classic, and gotta love my Space Invaders for Super Nintendo. Next up here is one of the games I did want, and now I can finally have it in my collection, and that is Pilot Wings. Now, one of the pickup videos I did last week, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I actually did get a Pilot Wings 64. So now I have it for the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64. And this is a game I do have up for trade, so I actually do have an extra copy of this. So this is Terminator 2 or T2, the arcade game. If you guys want this, for a trade, drop me a PM. And the last two here, the NES games. Now, this one, I've seen quite a bit about it, and it's off the arcade port, and that is Rolling Thunder. And this is a Tengen card for a lot of you who don't know. And last but not least, people, and I've seen quite a few videos of this, where people are commanding overpriced prices for this game, but I wanted to have it, something I played a lot as a kid on the arcade, but I never had for the NES, and that is Popeye for the Arcade Classic Series for the NES, right there. And last but not least, later in the day, and if you see it from my last video over at the NAVA event at Digital Press, one of the regulars there, Christian, which I give you humongous props for hooking me up with these. I actually saw them. One guy honestly didn't have the money for some of these games, so I kind of caught the kid slipping, kind of not. But he had these 3 sitting there, and I just pounced on them. And the price he gave me was beyond fair. Like, one of these games alone is not anywhere close to what I gave him the offer for. But I'm definitely glad to have all 3 of these. Now, let me show you the first one here, and that is Kid Icarus. Now, this is starting to get I can't say a really rare game, but it's just getting a little harder to find in the wild these days. And I know this does command quite a price on eBay and Amazon. And next off here is one of the games I played, and this always made me rage quit quite a bit when I would play this over at my friend's house, and that is Metal Gear for the NES. And last off, ladies and gentlemen, and I can finally say, I could cross this one off my list next to Contra, which was one of the games I really wanted. I did own it as a kid, but after I had the apartment fire when I was about 12, a lot of my stuff got lost in the fire, so I'm glad to finally have a physical copy of this, and that is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Finally. Now, one of the other titles I would be looking for down the line is Super Punch-Out! For the Super Nintendo. But other than that, people, I can say, thank you, Christian, and thank you, Ralph, for hooking me up with a lot of this stuff here. Not bad for one day, honestly, for what I spent. It wasn't a lot, but it wasn't a little. It was a fair price for what I paid for, for the games over Digital Press. But basically, the other thing I forgot to mention, too, the other thing I got with that trade, actually, I got a Wiimote. Now, the reason why I got the Wiimote was for the iPod Touch. You can play certain emulators with this. Like, you actually play NES Atari, so on and so forth. I actually have tested this, and you can see with the light, it does work, and I have tested it. I'll do a video eventually just to show you how this thing works. I know there have been a bunch of videos on YouTube on how to work that, but you know, it's a little quirky thing, you know, just for the hell of it, I'll show you. And that's about it, people. Like I said, thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them at the bottom. I will finally start having some gameplay videos, and I know a lot of you aren't really into it, but that was, you know, when I first started doing this channel, that was the main part of what I wanted to do, gameplay videos, you know, some, you know, commentary. It's more impressions, not necessarily reviews. So it's kind of like how Steve Benway does it. He just plays the game and talks about it, his opinion on it, so on and so forth. And like I said, check me out on Facebook and Twitter. And that's about it, people. Have a great one and take care. Cheers.